He also had a badge which says he's an officer in Alabama.
That's right. Spikes had gone back to being a police officer.
Do you think that we dodged a bullet, quite literally?
Absolutely. There was probably an angel sitting on everybody's shoulder that night.
Chief Free calls the police chief of Spike's department in Florala, Alabama.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grim. We have an absolutely insane episode of TCAP for you, and I have to do a special request for all of you out there right now. Please like this video and drop a comment to help me out in the algorithm, because I'm not even sure I can keep this video up. It is that full of just insanity and things that YouTube generally dislikes, being talked about. But on today's episode, an ex-cop who actually recently started to become a cop again gets caught up in this sting, and it is quite unconventional the way he gets caught, and I really can't think of many laws that this guy did not break. Like, it's absolutely insane. By far the most dangerous person to ever be caught on this show. So we will get into that super shortly. I do want to mention you guys should join the Discord if you haven't already. I'm so close to hitting 700k, planning on doing a huge 700k Q&A for you guys, where you can ask me any pressing questions you might have on myself or the channel. So check out the Discord. There will be a 700k Q&A channel there where you can submit your own questions and vote on other questions you'd like to see me answer. Thanks so much for that. Without any further ado, let's get right on into it, shall we?
But they don't call and aren't showing up, so we decide to shut down for the night. Unbeknownst to us, however, there is a man heading to our house, all the way from the northern border of Florida, 350 miles away.
That's right. So this dude is actually heading over to them unannounced from 350 miles away. That might be one of the larger hauls we have seen. I didn't even realize there's 300 miles, across in Florida itself. But this dude is driving across state over to the coast, hoping to get into some trouble with this decoy. I'm kind of curious on how this is going to work out, because Chris literally just said that they shut down shop because nobody was showing up. So hopefully they're able to scramble together in time in order to catch this guy.
He's 41-year-old Todd Spikes. Using the screen name Loves to Eat Your Peach, he chatted regularly online for almost a month with a decoy who told him she's 13.
Okay, first of all, that is one of the most terrible, boomer, creepy usernames I have seen on the show so far. I know usually they're pretty dumb, but yeah, this one is just straight up disgusting. He's speaking to a decoy who obviously claimed that they were 13, and yet he is still making this 350-mile drive. Now, I don't know how good the traffic is, but I have to imagine that's at least like 4 hours or something, dude, of driving. That is a long haul in order to meet this person. So it pleases my heart to know that he is making that entire trip only to get arrested.
You're only 13? Damn, you're a little hottie.
Hi, and thanks.
Spike's chat is extremely graphic, difficult to quote on television.
And obviously, as you can tell, Spikes is, which is what we're calling him today, is quite the smooth talker here. As they show their chat logs, I don't know what is wrong with this man's keyboard, but he must be stuck on caps lock, or he is just in full boomer mode, caps lock enabled, one finger tapping each letter, trying to find it, taking him about 30 seconds to type a single word. But he's spitting game over here. He's saying, damn, you're a little hottie, which is quite the entrance into the chat log, if you ask me. But yeah, the kind of sad thing is they actually mentioned they can't really even show most of his chats. They were that disgusting and egregious, and that is a rare occurrence on this show. Usually they show, some pretty vile text back and forth, but if they're not even willing to show it on screen via text, then it must have been terrible.
When the decoy tells Spikes she lives with her mother, Spikes says he could become the mother's boyfriend, come to live at their house, and have with both of them.
Oh my god. Okay, so this dude obviously is a ultra monster just for speaking to this decoy in the first place. But here's our first little clue of how truly evil he is. He proposes that he finds this girl's mother, begins to date her, moves into their house, and then he can have a relationship with both of them. If that isn't the most sick, twisted stuff you've ever seen, I don't know what is. Like, my heart's pumping. I'm already kind of disappointed because I'm worried of where this is going. I'm really hoping I can actually make this video and upload it, because some of the stuff they're already talking about is like yellow monetization symbol city, if you get my drift. What a true monster, dude. And that paired with how far he's driving, just what a sick individual.
Spikes also tells the girl what he's done for a living.
I used to be a cop. Was a cop for 15 years.
But he tells her he quit being a cop to work in a family business.
Yeah, sure, work at a family business. Not like he got laid off or anything. Actually, that's a joke, obviously. No cops are out here actually getting in trouble for anything they do. But yeah, this guy was serving as a police officer for 15 years. And now he is apparently retired from the force, but still trolling around on these chat logs, trying to just ruin somebody's life. An absolute monster. I'm going to say that probably for the 100th time in this video so far, and we're only a couple minutes in. But I am just disgusted by every single action of this man. And he even spells out how terrible it'd be if he got arrested, saying that he would have a terrible time in prison with him being a cop and all, which is true. And then they find out what you're in there for, and that's just like a double whammy. You are absolutely getting shivved in the courtyard or wherever, But either way, this dude realizes that what he's doing is wrong. I would hope so. After being a cop for 15 years, you pretty much should have a very clear black and white vision of what is right and wrong. But clearly for him, he is fine with, crossing over that threshold and just being a bad guy. Maybe he was just so sick of catching criminals that he finally was like, you know what, I'm gonna become one, yeah.
Other officers back at the darkened undercover house and see Spikes driving by.
He actually circled the house numerous times.
Then as Spike seems to drive away, the police stop his car and place him under arrest.
So basically, like they said in the intro, they had the whole operation shut down. So this guy actually comes unannounced and calls the decoy when he is in the city and is apparently making rounds around the house where she says she lived, which is really creepy. But I'm sure he might have realized that either this is sketchy or just, nobody's home, the lights are off, but this person's still talking to me, and he gets scared and starts to dip. So it seems like this episode is actually going to be quite different, as we're not really going to even have an interview with Chris per se, but I'm excited to see where this goes, because if this is only a few minutes into this so far, we still have a lot of video to go.
As it turns out, we may have been lucky he never made it inside the house.
After we actually took him out of the vehicle, he advised us that he had firearm on him.
And shocker, the guy brought a firearm, which is just another level to the scariness of this. I know he's an ex-cop and he's got to have his, his piece on him, but that is pretty hardcore, dude. And just because of the context of what you were heading over here to do, very scary to think of what would have happened either A, if Chris was not there, or B, if Chris was there and this guy still had this piece on him and maybe, reacted negatively. This could have been a lot worse. So they really did dodge a bullet, both literally and figuratively.
But there's something else.
He also had a badge, which says he's an officer in Alabama.
That's right. Spikes had gone back to being a police officer.
What a scumbag. The dude actually became a police officer again and brought his badge with him, and who knows what kind of power he could have exerted there, because, that's a common thing. People will either impersonate cops, or cops themselves will use their power and their badges in order to just, completely take hold of a situation. And when you're in front of a child who you think is home alone, that is scary to think of what that outcome could have been. So this guy clearly had very nefarious, intentions coming here, which is probably pretty obvious just based off of that's every single person on this show has nefarious intentions. But this is just amping up to the next level. Like, every single detail that's coming out here makes it sound worse and worse for this guy. I'm actually terrified.
Outside, the officers searching his SUV make another startling discovery: an arsenal of weapons, including this military that was leaning on the passenger seat, ready to fire.
Oh my god. Okay, so I don't even know if I can show you guys like non-pixelated images of this just because of, the nature of this platform, but let's just say this dude was stocked up like freaking Rambo, okay? He had full magazines, just a arsenal in his car with him, rolling around across the state to meet with this decoy who he thought was home alone. I need to be just constantly reiterating that to you guys, because think of the true damage that this man could have done, or think of what could have happened if he just lost it and snapped, realizing that he's probably getting pulled over for something bad and started off a firefight with the cops or something. Like, everything here could have gone so much worse. I'm surprised he just gave himself up so easily, but he probably pulled over originally thinking that maybe they got him on like, failure to yield to a stop sign or like slight speeding or something. He probably didn't expect that they were totally in the know of what he was in this part of Florida for, but thank God they were, because they stopped this man, and he's clearly crazy if he became a cop again and is riding around with this much ammunition and just pure firepower.
Is there any legitimate reason for a cop to be driving around with all that firepower?
No. I can think of no reason at all that you would have that much ammunition or the type of ammunition that he had.
Dude had body armor and 800 rounds of ammunition. If that isn't just absolutely shocking and terrifying, I don't know what is. And again, this is something that I've talked about in the past, but nobody should have access to this much, let alone a crazed psychopath like this. So the cops pulling this guy over, I'm sure they were shocked once they searched his car, but they really did save the day here, because that is taking these away from this guy who clearly should not have access to this stuff, or a badge for that matter. It's kind of shocking he was even able to become a cop again, because clearly this dude is just off his rocker. I don't know how he passed this, maybe once you become a cop and you retire, you can just go back to the force easily and no one really questions it, but this guy should have been filtered out in the, mental evaluation or something.
Do you think that we dodged a bullet, quite
Absolutely.
literally?
Absolutely. There was probably an angel sitting on everybody's shoulder that night.
Thought I'd give you a courtesy call to let you know we have arrested one of your officers.
Oh, and cringe. Then you got to call the other police department and be like, yeah, we just picked up one of your officers across the entire state. He was trying to meet a kid online, and he also just happened to have like a full Warzone loadout in his freaking car. So he's going to jail hopefully for a long time. Just want to give you this courtesy call and let you know you did a bad job hiring this moron once again.
Todd, the only thing I ask of you when you're in here is just not to make any sudden moves. You know that drill, right?
Yeah, I know it. Oh, too well.
Yeah.
Other than giving his name and address, Spikes doesn't want to speak to Detective Williams.
So it turns out this cop actually realizes how cops work, and he knows to shut the hell up until he speaks to an attorney, which is the first intelligent thing this man has done, and possibly the only intelligent thing he has done in his entire life. But you can tell just by this how much cops realize that you can just get messed with by other cops in interrogations, and you can ruin your entire case by speaking. Even if you think it's just friendly small talk, there is always a motive behind it. I watch a lot of JCS and JCS inspired videos. All right, I've seen the many ways that they can get you in these interrogations. So this guy is kind of a genius for doing that, but still hopefully he's going to face some serious charges. Although with him being a police officer, it does lead me to believe, you know, they might not be as strict as they should be, which is a topic for another video, probably for another channel. I should leave my personal thoughts on his occupation out of this video, but I'm sure me just saying that gives you guys a fair idea of how I feel about cops.
The next evening, sheriff's deputies in Spike's home county serve a search warrant on his house. They take his computers, find even more, and large plastic tubs filled with videotapes.
What the nature of those videos are, we don't know yet. They're being analyzed by the state crime.
And apparently they didn't know at the time of filming what was on these tapes, but I can only imagine. This dude also had some other material in his car when he got arrested that is of an adult nature, so who knows what could have been on these tapes. Very freaky to think about, but glad he got raided. All of his stuff gets taken away, and now he gets questioned by the police on what he possibly was doing riding around with this many guns and this much ammunition, along with his police badge. Like, that is just a nasty combo, and some serious danger was avoided by arresting this guy.
What message do you think this investigation sends out, both in your community and across the country?
We are willing to do anything legally possible to keep our children safe in our community. We may be small, but we will use all of our resources.
You know, with recent events in the world, that statement, I would love to believe that it's true, but I think that is just PR jargon from that police chief. We see situations where clearly that is not the case. Obviously, with these cases, it's a little bit different, but yeah, take what he just said with a grain of salt there. Now, let's follow up on what this guy, you know, endured in the rest of his life, what his charges were, because I'm gonna have to mute this, but I'm going to talk over what Saul, the original uploader of this clip, says happened. So he drove 5 hours to meet this 13-year-old, and in the car, not only did they find that whole arsenal, they found rope, duct tape, a tarp, cameras, video equipment. It is terrifying. He literally had a full-on kit for just what he was going to do at this house. He was charged with multiple things, but eventually released on a $10,000 bond, and he fought the charges for years, kind of dragging out the court system here. And in 2009, they announced that they would finally seek prosecution against him. He was arrested in 2009, but released 5 days later, awaiting trial, where he finally met his trial and pleaded no contest to all of those charges pretty much. He was sentenced to 10 years of probation and a lifetime registration as an offender, which to me is just simply not enough. Look at what this guy had, and you tell me if he was any other type of person, if he was not an old police officer, just an old good time boy, that he would not have gotten these charges, okay? You cannot tell me that this would not have been a different case with literally anybody else. That sickens me. And the judge even said he would offer early termination of that probation after 5 years because, you know, he just made a mistake, all right? He's a good guy. He's part of the badge, so therefore he can't do no wrong. It was just a simple, you know, misjudging of character. But then he literally violated his parole in 2012, and while detained, got involved into a fight causing even more issues, and he was finally sentenced to 3 more years and 23 days of prison for violating that probation. Once you see that he's a repeat offender, why are we not locking him up for longer amounts of time? Like, literally, this dude is out here just making issues over and over, getting more and more chances, and he is just a scumbag that should not be on the streets. He should not be integrated into society because clearly this guy does not mesh well with the rest of us human beings. But yeah, apparently he's walking free as of now since 2015, so that's quite a disappointing ending to this. I'm sorry if I got heated in the second half, but this was just such an insane story. I have to, you know, mix in my personal opinion with this every once in a while, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that he served enough time for this? Hopefully you agree with me that this should have been much more severe, just judging by what was in his car. That should land the the average person into jail for like years, decades probably. Yet he avoided it because he is most likely getting a favorable treatment because he's just an old cop, served for so long that clearly he is a good guy. But deep down, we know this dude is terrible. So let me know what you thought of Spikes down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the very end. Shout out to the Patreon, which I routinely forget to shout out. We got a new video coming for you very shortly over there. Thank you to all my new supporters and my old supporters as well. You guys are the bomb.com. Anyways, my name is Grim, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until next time, peace out.